All right, this is a project I've been wanting to do pretty much since I got the car. I've had the idea. I didn't know when the right time to do it would be. And I didn't know exactly how to do it, but now that I got some structure back in the car here, got the floor and everything, the cross member, I feel like cutting up the rest of the car is okay now. It's gonna need some bracing and everything, but that's where all this stuff comes in right here. So I want to put the car on kind of like a mini dolly jig chassis table kind of, I don't really know, system type dealio here, especially to do the rear rails, but mainly to strip out the rest of the car and still be able to move it in and out. Now I kind of thought a while back, you know, how I wanted to do this, but I wasn't really sure. So I stole this idea from Rust Bucket Restos here on YouTube. He's currently restoring a 68 Charger that was, believe it or not, in worse shape than this one right here, and that thing's gonna be sweet when he's done with it. It is really, really nice. Turned out really nice. So that's cool. I saw a video he did a while back. I've kind of been going back and using his videos as research. They've been super helpful, especially because I don't really know what I'm doing. So kind of basing off of what he did here, I'm gonna make this dolly system, and it's gonna bolt to these rear boxes on the back here. Same thing he did, and then it's gonna go to the K-member bolts. It'll bolt up on the bottom side of the frame member once I pull the front suspension out. Using some pretty simple material here, not the best. I got spoiled back at home, and I had a metal supermarket. It's like 2 miles down the road, and it was awesome. The closest one to me out here now is 50 something minutes away. I don't remember, it's basically an hour away. So I basically just get all my metal from Menards, Lowe's, whoever's got what I need. And in this case isn't exactly the best, but you know what, I'm gonna try to make do with what I got here. So I just got some 1/8 inch angle iron, and I'm going to weld this together to make a box like that. And then on one end of the box, I'll have a plate going like this that'll butt up against this rear box right there, and I'll put some bolts through it right there. And then on the front, when I get to that point, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. I don't know exactly how high I want to make these yet. I'll go through and figure those out when I measure. And I'm going to put these casters up on the bottom like this. Now I'm not going to weld these to them, just like watching Rust Bucket Resto's videos. He didn't weld them to him, and for a good point. He was just doing this in order to move his car, but I'm doing the same thing here, but his was literally just to move it, to put it up on a trailer and everything. I kind of want to move this around and everything. But even if I lock the wheels, it's still not going to stay in the same spot. So if I make a little pad, you know, just bolt these up to it, I could take these off, set the car back down on the ground, and it'll be stationary right there. Step number one here is going to be start with the back side. So I want to get to that, and then once I get the back done, jack up the front, tear the front suspension out, do the fronts. And then when it's all set and done, I would like to tie all 4 points together, you know, just with some metal and basically a rectangle. And then once I go do the rear rails here, I'm gonna see if I can't basically kind of extend pieces back and somehow make a jig or bracing system for the back. But this is just gonna be the start, so I can move the car around and get everything stripped out from underneath it. And then as time goes on, I'm just gonna build onto it as I need. You can finally see kind of what I've been making here. This gives me good representation of what's going to happen. I got my diagram all drawn out, everything measured. So this is going to be side 1. I just need to go ahead and repeat it, side 2, got my homemade square stock all dialed. Everything here is situated, and this is all square. These plates don't need to be totally square just because they're gonna have holes for the bolts, but I'm gonna go ahead and make them all the same. I got them really close right now. Might need to get some like final trimming, grind it down a little bit to get all square, but I want to make sure everything is as square as I possibly can. This here will get welded to in the center. I might do like a plate off, you know, two sides to make a triangle. That'll be a decision later. And then yeah, you can see how this will bolt up and then be able to come on and off right there. And basically the car will sit on this when I do decide to take the wheels off. So now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and weld triangles. Heck, I might even do, I don't know, on all sides. That might be a little excessive. Hey, rather be safe than sorry in this case. So time to clean this mess up for the night. It is getting very cold out here. I'm not looking forward to these next few months, but it is what it is. Just keep grinding away on this thing because there is a lot to get done. So I got my base plates welded up to the square stock now. Everything is all good. Happy with how those turned out. And before, well, I started drilling the holes so you can see for the casters. But I want to add a little bit of bracing, so I went ahead and cut out these tabs right here. This side is 2 1/4, and this side here is 2 inches long by 1.5 inches wide. That's the size of, or yeah, the width of the square stock there. So I'm gonna go ahead, weld those all the way around, do the same thing on those sides, just for some extra strength, especially if I want to take the caster off and have the car sit on these plates right here. I think that'll definitely help, you know, prevent it from basically the ends of this kind of caving up as that pole is going to be pushing down. So I got to do that. Then I got to drill out the holes for the shackle plates that'll go on like that. And then I haven't decided yet which way I want to orient the, or orientate, I don't even know, which way I want to, you get what I'm saying, put the wheels either this way or that way on the car. So this will either sit on there like so, or it'll go on that side just like that. Got the car outside. Stands haven't folded in on themselves yet, so that's pretty good. I ended up switching to solid polyurethane wheels on the back here instead of having a caster, and I got rid of those rubber ones. These are a lot thicker. I think they'll be a lot stronger. I'm pretty happy with how those turned out. So you can see, yeah, just how I did those 3 bolts right there. Goes on the inside of the shackle mount up in there. So those 2 are looking good. Got this thing out here because, man, I haven't seen it out in the sun in quite some time, and got to clean up the mess in here, and then I'm actually gonna back this thing in for the first time in like 3 months, so that'll be cool to see. So then that way, starting today and this week, my plan is to tear this whole front suspension out and then basically do the same thing on the front as I did with the back, but I think I'm gonna do casters, and this side's gonna be a little more measuring and specific to make sure it's all level and matches the back sides right there. It wasn't exactly the ideal way to get this mess out, but it's out, and the car didn't fall, and it didn't fall on me, so I guess that's good. It is, I bet you can lift this up. Yep, it is very light in the front right now. This is kind of scary, so I'm really happy that the casters I'm gonna make are gonna go off the K-member bolts, so it'll have a point right here instead of, you know, basically where the jack stand is. that'll definitely make it a lot more sturdy. And then if I need to, while I'm like climbing around in it or something, I can put the jack stands underneath it. But this stuff all came out relatively easy. Only had to cut one of the A-arms here because this caster cam bolt, cam bolt would not break loose. And you know what, doesn't really matter because none of this right here is going back in the car ever, so that's good. But yeah, now you can see a close look of some of the frame work on the front I got to do. I knew about this one under here right there. Yeah, that's a new one, so not too bad. At least I don't have to replace the whole front rails. But let's get to making some casters for the front now. Finished up making the plates for the top of the front casters here, and believe it or not, these are actually 2 pieces of 1/8 inch because the store did not have a sheet big enough, so I had to weld those 2 together, then grind that down and go through, drill the holes around the edges and everything. But yeah, that's like, I don't know, an hour of work in itself just to get a freaking square with 4 holes. But oh man, we did it. I can't wait to one day have a plasma and a drill press and just go boop 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 and freaking have that done in like 5 minutes. But anyway, this is gonna sit down here. I got my angle iron all bolted up, got the holes drilled out for that, got that all squared, and then I went through and I got the entire car all squared up on the stands and on the back casters. I went through and got my measurements. Right now, the front of the rocker is exactly 1 inch higher than the rear where the casters are. So when I go through and start making the front pieces for this, I'm gonna subtract 1 inch out of that, and then that'll put the car totally square and level all the way around. That's exactly what I want, because eventually I'll start to build braces and bunch of other support pieces off of this, but this is basically the start. So there we have it. Both front braces for the casters are all completed. Definitely a lot stronger. Last thing I said I was going to do is, yeah, add these side pieces here. These were a bit tricky because this is all 1/8 inch here, everything. These side pieces are just some extra square stock I had laying around, and they're not as thick. Honestly, don't even know what they are, what size they are off the top of my head. But yeah, got them all welded up. Because they're thinner, I went ahead and just stitch welded them. I think it turned out pretty decent. Not the prettiest, but overall, not too bad. I'll take it. Welded them along the sides, the bottoms, and then of course up there on the top. And that definitely adds some structure. Same thing with these guys over here. So I am pretty happy with that, all things considered. That was a ton of work just to get to this point. You can see all my measurements and everything down here, using this thing basically to map out what I was gonna do. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked with those. I'm happy with that. So I'm very cold. It's like I think it's like 30 degrees out right now. I don't know if you can see my breath on camera, but yeah, it's starting to get cold here, which sucks. And I didn't have work today, which was pretty freaking nice. So I came right here after class, which was about 12:30, 12:45, and it is now about 10:30. So I've been here all day, but I wanted to get these done, and that I accomplished. So tomorrow after work, I'll come back, get these things primed, painted, bolt the casters on them, and hopefully bolt them to the car for the final time. These things have been a ton of work. Ugh. Car is back on 4 wheels once again here. Wrapped up the casters, dollies, whatever you want to call them. I actually wrapped them up a couple days ago. I just finally got a chance to push it outside in the light so I could film this, but I mocked it up with just some mock-up tires I had. Throw the picture up here right now. And yeah, I've just been staring at that picture the past 2 days. That has me so excited for what this car is going to turn into eventually. I know this wasn't the most interesting thing, but maybe it'll help someone or give them ideas or whatnot, and I just felt like making a video about it. So why the heck not? I genuinely enjoy fab projects like these because why not? I think it's fun basically to make something out of nothing. And obviously that's essentially the whole, I guess, theme and idea of this car, making something out of what was virtually nothing. So quick rundown of what we got going on here. I just used those angle iron for the top pieces, got a brace going down here, 2 on the sides, plate on the bottom. I mean, pretty simple. You guys already saw what the backs look like completed, but this is what the fronts look like. So very happy with the way those turned out. Pretty simple to make overall. And now the car is 100% square and level all the way across. I measured from these points. What point did I go to? Yeah, these holes. It was on the front right here, so that side and that side. You can see my measurement up there. I got down there, or actually, I'm sorry, it was these holes right here. I went to the center of these guys, so you can see it's 25 1/8 right there. And then I also measured from the front and back of the rockers on both sides there. So with that being said, once I go on and cut the rear rails out and start on this whole mess back here, I can essentially build off this and hopefully make a jig for the rear rails. At least there's my plan there. And then if I need to, I could put braces between all 4 pieces. I might put a brace across the front ones just to keep them from, you know, spreading out if they do or anything. But I think the backs are going to be pretty fine. That's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, leave comments, questions, suggestions, how to make them better. At the end of the day, it helps everyone out here. So next video on this thing will probably just be more and more rust repair. I got videos for like the next month planned out, with 2 in late November that are gonna be pretty cool. I'm excited for. So stay tuned for them. Thanks again for watching, everyone.